officially start the meeting and welcome everybody to the room. Good morning. There's some new faces, which is very nice. And thank you so much, obviously, to Barbara that's holding the Chamber of Commerce together and really helping us navigate this very challenging time. Thank you to Diane, the chair of the Health and Wellness Committee, and Denise, who have been really spearheading this series of speakers, which I know it's been so fundamental for our community. And it's really nice to be able to get on this call weekly and find familiar faces, new faces, and some support. And I know we've been really benefiting from the tools that we've been learning all along. So I'm excited for today's speaker, which Diane will be introducing. And if you are a chamber member, you probably have, you know Barbara, and you've attended a few events. Thank you for being a member. The chamber now more than ever, it's really advocating and stepping up to support the local businesses. Not only the ones who were directly affected, so they lost their place of business or their place of business was damaged, but also for the remaining, the standing businesses, which of course are facing a period of uncertainty and a lot of struggle and difficulty. There's a big perception that Malibu right now is basically shut down. So one of the big campaigns that Barbara has been working on is really to make sure to tell people that we're open for business in Malibu. So actually, neighboring, communities, are welcome to show their support by simply just driving to Malibu, whichever way it's safe. So of course, check the road conditions before deciding to drive into town, but go and just dine locally, shop locally, spend a day. Just even, showing up and chatting with the local peeps, because we need that smile, we need that support more than ever. And of course, I'm telling you that probably the most of you are local businesses, so if you are not a member, the chamber provides incredible opportunities. So when the time is right, know that Barbara is there to answer any question about membership, etc. But this being this kind of like special format that it's been piloted, we normally start off with an intro, each one of us. But I think that given the situation, we'll keep dedicating the hour we have for our main speaker, so that they can walk us through their keynote and then have time for Q&A. So I think I said everything. Welcome again. And then Diane, do you want to take it away?
So sure. I just want to interrupt. I love to meet before either Felicia or I talk. Just introduce yourselves, because you're very important. All of you have probably experienced the loss or devastation of it. And I really love to know who the audience is. So it doesn't look like it's a very big group, but I'm going to invite everybody to share who they are and if they have any questions, because that's going to make the talk, whatever Felicia or whatever I say, and Felicia is much more important in this talk than her mother, I will tell you right now. But I think it'll make it more meaningful.
Okay, that's a great idea. Thank you very much for that. That's a great idea. Well, I can start, and then we can just go around. My name is Diane Kale, and I have been in the chamber for about 2-3 years, and I was elected member of the year. Yay, it was so fun. And also I'm the chairperson for the Health and Wellness Committee. And as this Health and Wellness Committee has been meeting weekly or monthly, Denise and I decided that, Denise decided actually that this committee would be a great spot to really, after the fires, to really help people kind of come to terms and really, be in community with each other during weekly. So we started this Tuesday speaker series, and I think it's been really effective. We've had some really amazing people, and I'm so excited that Denise, invited Dr. Louise and her daughter Felicia, because I feel like this is a really important topic to talk about, and obviously you're there to help so many people, and Felicia has her struggles with being from the Palisades, and she'll tell you her story. But I'm a health coach, and I basically help people get to a healthy weight and really work on creating healthy habits. Okay, let's see who's next. Erica, how about you go?
Thank you. So for the new ones who have logged in, Dr. Louise has invited us to give a short intro so she can read the room. My name is Erica Siegel. I am also a board member of the Chamber, and I chair the Women's Leadership Committee. I love this community. So much so that a year and a half ago, I founded an event called Malibu Moves that hosts a walking running event. We have a 5K, 10K, and a half marathon, and a kids run at Zuma Beach. And it's such a great opportunity to bring the community together in a very active and positive way. This year, we're going to be donating all profits back to the community to support the fire rebuild. So join us October 25th and 26th and invite your friends. It's going to be a great way to celebrate Malibu and give back to the community.
Thank you.
I'll jump in. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Good morning, everybody. Good to see your beautiful faces. I'm so grateful to be here. I'm so grateful we get this time during the week to connect on a consistent basis, because it's really important. When you're out and about, I know this past weekend being out in Santa Monica, I hadn't been there for 4 weeks, and just being in Santa Monica, talking with some of the waiters and waitresses, how down and depressed and anxious they are. This is a good space for us. Not everybody gets it. And I just really, as a social worker who runs Milestones Ranch Malibu, my heart is always about community. The stronger we can be as a community, the more we can get through this. And so I'm just grateful for this time. Milestones actually has been busier than ever. Our calls are up. I didn't know how seeing, the fires and mudslides and earthquakes would affect the call volume, but we are getting probably triple the amount of calls that we did, say, 6 months ago. So we're busy. We're trying to help people. If you need any support getting someone to a therapist, an outpatient clinic or residential, please feel free to call us. My daughter and I, Savannah, who's my glue, helps with all the calls. So we're here for you. And thank you for Louise and Felicia for speaking this morning. I'm so grateful.
Thanks.
Nika, would you like to go introduce yourself?
Sure. Good morning. Thank you so much for hosting this. My name is Mika, and I'm a yoga therapist, a dance instructor, and I work for Awoken Space in Malibu, the new record store, bookstore, and yoga space that we have available. And I'm a certified yoga therapist, and I also own a nonprofit, Sacred Spectrum Movement. We do yoga, dance, fitness for neurodivergent kids, teens, and adults, as well as with special needs. And I did maybe you guys know Julie Carmen or Larry Payne. I did most of my training with them at Loyola Marymount, and now I teach at Loyola Marymount some courses for yoga therapy as well. And we're offering lots of exciting classes up at the Awoken Space, and just hoping that the roads get opened soon.
Have a ribbon cutting, grand opening, huh?
Yes.
Right away. Okay.
Yeah, Jesse owns the Awoken Space.
Oh, wonderful. Who's next? Patricia.
Hi, good morning. I'm Patricia Myers. I want to just thank everybody. I've been Zooming in every Tuesday. It's been so incredibly helpful, and really cherish kind of this sacred space. I am one of the owners at Startup Recovery, and unfortunately, we lost our 3 homes in the Palisades. I mean, one of them burned to the ground, the other 2 are inhabitable, so I feel like they're lost. And, it's just been a really, really difficult time. That is kind of 95% of our business starts at our houses. We have a wellness center down at 4th and Wilshire, where the clients from the houses come there, and then a sober apartment community at 29th in Colorado. I'm also the chairwoman at Miriam's house, and I also chair the big Polo in the Palisades fundraiser every year to keep the doors of Miriam's house open. So we're not sure what the future is for Polo in the Palisades for 2025, but I'll certainly keep everybody posted. And yeah, again, it's just I'm really excited to be here with all of you and Louise and Felicia. Louise is on the board with me at Miriam's house, and Felicia is also very much a part of Miriam's house. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
Mhm.
Jesse, welcome.
Yes, I like to say I'm the founder of the Awoken Space. It just sounds nicer. It's less egotistical and possessive, but I technically may be owning it also. And then, yeah, we just opened in November. It was already kind of difficult to get the word out and raise awareness that we're even there. We've been under construction for forever, and then the permitting process was a nightmare. So I can only imagine, and I feel so bad for what people have in front of them who have to rebuild. Hopefully, they're going to really streamline the process and make it easier for people because it's already too arduous. But yeah, we now, hearing after, what Patricia said and really puts things into perspective. We're not happy with the closures and, the state of Malibu, but thank God, for everything that survived and that we all still have to work with and move forward with. And our place is technically open, and we're having classes Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. And yeah, please feel free to stop by. We also have, as she mentioned, the other half of the business is a shop with books, records, and objects, and here to help. So, uh, but yeah, this is also here to help, and we really appreciate this series. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Jesse, for showing up. And we definitely need to do a ribbon cutting. Have we not done a ribbon cutting?
No.
That would be fun.
At it every day.
And Nika just sent me a text to remind you that, yeah, we have free classes for anyone who was affected by the fires, and we're also giving free books to people affected by the fires who lost books. And we have an $11 class also for first time students also.
That's wonderful. I have to get up with you and put that out to all the members. So I will reach out to you. Okay, Jesse.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you. Heidi, welcome.
Thank you. Good morning. So Heidi Bernard, I'm Director of Community Engagement from Pepperdine University. So we're located here, there, and everywhere. Malibu is our main, but I'm also here in Calabasas and across the world, really. And just happy to be here. I'm a board of directors for the chamber and love to help out with committees, and just happy to be here and part of this group.
Fantastic. Thank you. Jamie Spiegel, welcome.
Hi, good morning. This is actually the first meeting that I have attended, so hello to everyone.
Hello. Happy you're here.
Yeah, thank you so much. So I popped in a little bit late, but I assume we're just going around introducing ourselves, telling people what we do and why we're here, yes?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. So I'm Jamie Spiegel. I'm co-owner of a small agency that specializes in benefits and HR support for small businesses. And I'm joining because I have two young daughters that are here in Malibu as well. And I've noticed definitely a shift in the community since the fires. And I was also here during the Woolsey fire as well. So my goal is just to kind of get a little bit more involved and see, how I can help during this time of a little bit of chaos as we're all going through. It's important to see that for my girls being here too. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for coming. I'm happy that you're here. Marissa, welcome.
Hi, everybody. Glad to be here. My name is Marissa Axelrod. I am an integrative wellness coach. I offer a 16-week virtual program aimed at mindset, goal setting, visioning, movement, grief, a whole variety of topics, while also incorporating Reiki and breath work into the sessions. It is truly, that's my son. Yeah, he's homesick right now. This is my son. And says hi to everybody. I not only because I created this program, but I love this program. It is beautiful to watch people grow and transition as they walk through it. So I'm also an RN by trade and offer medical advocacy. I can be hired for that, but I also just kind of do that as a service to people. So if you know anybody that is in crisis, medical stuff going on, and they just need some guidance and systems, let me know. This is my.
So how are you affected by the fires?
You know, I live in Topanga, so we are where I am in Topanga is okay, but obviously, like as a community as a whole, it's pretty tragic, but also we are a resilient group. So, you know, probably about a third of our canyon burned, but was mostly brush and trees. And now we're going to see the aftermath of that, which is anytime it rains, I think personally, anytime it rains from here on out for several years, we're just going to have road closures on Topanga Canyon Boulevard in that area. And it's significant. But there's a lot of community support going on, a lot of community events to really bring us together. Please remember our farmers market is open on Fridays. It is so incredible, our farmers market. If you have not been, please make the drive up, come up through Mulholland and around and into our canyon. We need support. Our local businesses need support. So please share with your networks, come to the canyon, have a meal at the bistro, have a meal at Inn of the Seventh Ray, get a little something special at Canyon Gourmet, buy a little trinket at one of our shops. We really need that support right now.
I love that. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And thanks for being here. And Stephanie.
Good morning. My name is Louise Stanger, and I work with women in leadership positions as a coach. And it's health and wellness coaching and also performance coaching or leadership coaching. Happy to be here.
Thank you. And were you affected by the fires?
Our property burned down, yes.
Your property all burnt down.
Oh my gosh.
I'm sorry, Stephanie. So let me introduce, is that everybody? I think I got everybody. Yes.
I'd like to say something.
Oh, sorry, Barbara.
Go
Oh, sorry.
Stephanie, I didn't know about your home. I'm so sorry. Gosh.
Thank you,
I
Barbara.
wanted to take a minute and Jesse and Nika, I want you to know that with Barbara Burke, we talk about you every day and have all year. And I've been worrying about you and can't wait to celebrate you and make sure to get you on the calendar and have you all understand that the Chamber's here to promote everyone. This is an inclusive organization. I want you to lean on me if you need something, if you need help getting money, if you've got a problem, if you can't do something, reach out to ceo@malibu.org. That's what I'm here for. And I just want you to feel comfortable with that. I also need to tell you that when I put out something, if you're not signed up for the newsletter, please go to Malibu or palibu.org and subscribe right away. I'm a support organization that, and there's grants, there's free money. When it says grants, it's really relief funds. I want everybody to understand. If somebody has, you know, gotten a bunch of money for either a concert or donations or something, and they need to give it away now. But that window's closing because that's something that they're not used to doing, to handling all that money. So they get the money, they want to give it away, and then they close it so they can get that off of their plate. So it's closing now, several of them. There's ones for artists, there's ones for everybody. Like I said, over on, you know, in the chat, over here. There's my newsletter link there, and listed there is everything that's getting ready to close. And I want everybody to apply for everything. Some of it's business interruption. I mean, it applies to everybody. If you were displaced, if your business, if you've lost money, you know, that would be farmers market. Everybody can apply for these. And there's another one coming out from the LA Chamber teamed up with the US Chamber, and they got a bunch of donations, and they're getting ready to open it. So you need to register. So please go through. And today, especially if you're an artist, or there's another one in there that's closing today too. But anyway, please take a look and register for that money. It's for you. It's for you. Okay. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Yeah.
Good job. Thank you, Barbara.
Thank you, Barbara. That's great.
Welcome. You're welcome. Stay in touch, everybody.
That's good news. And how do we get that information out? Just go to the
I
website?
send a newsletter constantly with it all in there, but I'm not sure everybody, I've talked to people and they say, well, I looked and I don't think any of it's for me. I said, that's not possible. It's not possible that it's not for you. It's for everybody. And I don't know, sometimes, you know, when people are in shock or you don't know how to get that message across to people, I'm sending it because this is free money for you. Click on it and apply for it. I don't think it's not like a grant where you got to get a grant writer. It's not like that. They call it a grant. It's not. It's relief funds. Okay.
Very
So
good.
I need to do it even, you know, and then there's the SBA, which that has a window that's closing for nonprofits, but you can get an EIDL loan if you're a nonprofit. There's a lot of stuff there. Okay. There's interest-free loans even. There's lots of things in there. So the link is in there, or else just join, subscribe for the newsletter.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you very much. Well, I'd like to get started with our amazing speakers. So we have a mother-daughter duo this morning. I'm going to introduce Felicia first. Felicia Alexander, where is she? There she is. Felicia Alexander is the CRO of Title Boxing Club and co-founder of Box Union, a passionate advocate for fitness as a tool for empowerment, stress relief, and community building. Felicia can often be found at one of her studios in LA or introducing friends to the latest fitness trend. A dedicated mom and wife, she also volunteers with several nonprofits and is deeply committed to community service. After losing her home of 18 years in the Palisades fire, Felicia has embraced a philosophy of resilience, always seeking the silver lining in every situation and inspiring others to do the same. So that's wonderful. And then we have Dr. Louise Stanger. Louise, do you want me to just read that last little bit you gave me? Yes. I can't. I gotta unmute.
Yes, I muted myself. That's how excited I was.
There's a very long list here of what she does, and she is amazing. And I did buy her book, and it is such a great book. But the very last thing that she said that she wants me to just make sure that you understand is her mission is to help others become the best version of themselves and to keep falling up. Is that it?
That's it.
And here she is. So here the two of them are, Dr. Louise Stanger and Felicia Alexander. And I'm so happy to have you here with us today. So
hi, everyone. I have to say this is the first time I've ever got to do something like this with my mom. And it's pretty unbelievable. You know, crummy circumstances that brought us here, but definitely a great experience nonetheless. So on Tuesday, January 7th, I was sitting right here at my office off Howard Hughes Parkway, and my business partner, who was a Canadian resident, called me and he's like, "Are you seeing anything about this fire?" And I was like, "No." When I left to go to my office earlier that morning, there was no fire. And he said, "I just went outside," and he's like, "The smoke is unbelievable." I said, "Do you think I should come home?" He's like, "I do. I think you should go home." So I called my husband and I said to my husband, Greg, you know, Todd just called and he said the fire is really bad. And at that point in time, my husband was in the garage. Ironically, he was doing some patching because we were going to have painters come over the weekend to do some interior painting of the house. And my husband's like, "Let me go on the roof deck." And I was like, "Okay, well, you know, I'm going to make my way home." So he went up on the roof deck, and at that point in time, we lived in the alphabet streets of the Palisades, and he could see flames up on the ridge. And he decided to get both garden hoses because he was going to wet down our all wooden roof deck. In 2017, we had evacuated for the Palisades fires, and we were thinking it was going to be very much along the same ilk. We'd get some stuff together, we'd be gone a couple of days, and we'd be back. I drove home. It took me a lot longer to get home than normal. I saw plumes of, ominous gray smoke, got home, grabbed a laundry basket, put my wedding album, a few of the Surefly albums that I had made of my son through the years, got my away carry-on bag and threw some clothes. Obviously comfort was really important because I brought like lots of workout clothes and sweats. And it's weird, like when you're faced with packing up, like what do you actually take? And I wasn't really thinking because, we're going to come home in a few days. My son called and word had gotten out at school. He's at school at New Roads in West LA, and people were starting to leave. And he's like, do you think I should leave? And I was like, it took me a really long time to get home. I don't know if you can get home. And at this point in time, we could see, the flames along the ridge looked like they were getting closer and closer. But again, never in my wildest imagination did I think what happened was going to happen. So he somehow made it home. He grabbed things that I would have never contemplated taking on his behalf, like his, beloved gaming computer, his Xbox, like, all the really important things. He did grab his flight log. He's been training to become a private pilot, and that you actually manually record your hours. So thankfully he had the wherewithal to take that as well. And we packed up our cars. I think 10 minutes after he got home, the Amber Alert came that said, you really need to leave now. So we left, and what usually takes 8 minutes to get to Santa Monica took an hour. It's ironic, but the song by Paramore, Burning Down the House, started playing in my car as I was pulling out. And I'm like, okay, that's weird. And I didn't really think anything of it at the time. So we drove to a friend's house in Manhattan Beach, and I'm sure like many of you, we became glued to the TV, and when it was time to go to bed, watching live streams of the news on YouTube, not sleeping that entire night. My son somehow got onto some police radio scans, and, it was clear at that point in time that, our whole neighborhood was on fire. And when we woke up the next morning, like the rest of the world, we were absolutely stunned by what had happened. And, my mom will talk a lot about her background, but when you have been, raised by somebody who has faced as much adversity as she has, and including the loss of a husband when she was 44, which was my father, who at the age of 48 dropped dead suddenly of a heart attack when I was 16. You learn that you can, either dig yourself a hole in the corner, or you can do, as she so eloquently says, keep falling up. So it's been a philosophy that has been ingrained in me from a young age. And I've never been a blogger. I've never been one to, have like a daily gratitude practice, but this idea of like finding the silver linings became incredibly important, and something that, I just started writing every morning, about what good I was finding in such a, unbelievable situation. And some of it was funny, like, I no longer have any underwear or socks that are quitters, like every, bad underwear that I should have gotten rid of, like got rid of itself, or my husband's like sweat crusted hats that I couldn't, make disappear for the life of me are now gone. And I, have been really excited because other people, have commented and have said like, wow, thank you so much for sharing these silver linings. And I, created a Google form, and I've had, a number of people submit their own silver lining. And for me, it doesn't matter your situation. It doesn't matter if you lost your home, or if you've experienced the loss of a loved one, or you've moved on from a challenging relationship, or a job that no longer served you, or faced a challenge in everyday life. I think that, we're all constantly navigating the ups and downs, and, in every bad situation, there's a silver lining that can be found. And if it's all right with you all, I'd love to just read one of the silver linings that I wrote. I wrote this on day 10 of starting my silver lining journey. It was actually the Sunday after the fire. and I titled it Grief and Hope. On Sunday, the three of us put on heavy-duty gear and went to say goodbye to the place we for 18 years. For me, it wasn't just a house. It was the longest I had lived anywhere in my entire life. Driving through our beloved community, seeing the devastation was gut-wrenching. The streets, once filled with life and familiarity, now looked foreign. When we arrived in front of what was once our home, the sobs came, ugly, deep, and visceral. I couldn't hold them back. If it weren't for the outline of our treadmill and the remains of our dryer, I'm not sure we would have even recognized what we were looking at. We didn't go past the concrete driveway. We didn't search through the ashes for keepsakes or mementos. Instead, we stood there together, hugged, and talked about the love that had filled those walls and the countless happy memories we had made there. Birthdays, family dinners, quiet evenings, loud celebrations, they all played in my mind, vivid and full of life. This isn't the first time I've faced loss, and it's not the first time my heart has been broken. But I was raised by someone whose mantra is, keep falling up, because life will knock us down. It's inevitable. What matters is how we rise. The fire may have taken our house, but it didn't take my heart. It didn't take the love we shared within those walls, the friendships we built in our community, or the memories that will forever live inside of us. I'm deeply sad for what we lost. I'm sad for my son, for our friends, and for the community that gave us so much. But alongside that sadness, there's hope. There's a chance to rebuild, not just homes, but connections, purpose, and new memories. Grief and hope can coexist. I carry both with me, and while the road will be long, I know that love, resilience, and the support of others will pave the way. So if you guys want, I will put a link if you guys have your own silver linings. If you want to read my daily silver linings, I will share that in the chat. But that, along with physical activity, have been my go-to tools, and having this like kinship of other people who are sharing in the same experience. And that definitely has been a huge continual silver lining for me. And with that, I would like to turn it over to my mother, who has so graciously given me a lot of the tools to be able to navigate turbulent and challenging times.
So I get very emotional when I hear Felicia talk, and I get very emotional when I hear when there's something called disenfranchised grief. No, I'm not. No, I did not live in the Palisades. But yes, for 18 years, I can tell you everything that's there. From Kitson, who I love, who now is I'm selling these on Friday night. They're for the firefighters because you guys are the unstoppable ones. To Ruby, who owned the nail salon that Felicia frequented, who lost her business, but yet she wrote to my daughter. That was sort of amazing. To the little grocery store, to the eyeglass store, to everything that was the Starbucks, everything that was so much the community. I'm sure it's been overplayed a lot that, you know, when you come to LA, and obviously I'm not an LA person, the accent's Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. No, I'm not from New York, but I've lived here more than half my years, that you think Malibu is something for celebrities. You think Beverly Hills for the rich. And then they have this slogan that the Palisades is for community. But all of you are such an amazing, amazing community. And I just want to personally salute you, but I also want to let you know that others around you who did not live there feel your grief, see your grief, and really want to join you in community, because there's a lot of us in this room that I was so glad that you introduced yourselves, that work in the helping profession. And for those of you in the helping profession, Patricia, Diane, I don't know all the other people's names here, Denise, Savannah, you know that the key to recovery is connection. the key to recovery is community. Being in isolation is not what we need. And so Diane was sweet enough to say that she read my latest book, which is my fourth book, which is really fun and sassy. And it's called Reflections on Aging from the Sunset Marquee. And anybody that knows me knows that when I go old, I'm going to go live in the Sunset Marquee. But the thing about it is, it gave, it's not important how I wrote it. I was being sort of wanted to have a new photo for my website, Denise and Patricia. And I have friends with a world famous photographer by the name of Cheryl Fox. And we spent a day delightfully at the Sunset Marquee. And I felt like that super celebrity where I was going to run into all kinds of people and did pictures. At the end of the day, it wasn't about the pictures. It was that I had a little piece of paper about like this. And I wrote down the chapters. And I thought maybe this is really my philosophy of life, because I certainly have faced adversity. My own life, I've had 6 sudden deaths. Felicia knows about her father dying suddenly and unexpectedly. And, you know, when you left for the fire, you didn't take photos of your dad. My grandmother who gave her little, there's all kinds of things that you don't take because you don't think you need to, because you're always going to come back. Sudden death is an area of expertise. Sudden loss is an area. But what I came up with was sort of my recipe, my way of being able to be in the world to create a silver lining. And let me be clear, I have shed many a tear. This is probably the first week I have not woken up just tearful because as a mom, I was powerless. I couldn't help my daughter. As a colleague, I couldn't help Patricia with startup to make everything all better, or Denise, who I've known for years, or all of you. So there is that feeling of powerlessness. But what I decided to do, and I love, is let the music in. You know, I think the singer right now that's very popular, but I like country music, is Jelly Roll. So big old Jelly Roll tells you about how you can suffer adversity, but you also can bring change, and you can bring change across the world. So when I was writing down this thing, I said, let the music in. What kind of music can you let in that allows you to be the person that you're meant to be, the community you're meant to be, in the Palisades, in Malibu, and across Altadena? I must tell you that I wrote an article for Forbes magazine because the reporter's aunt lost her home in Altadena. So it's just everywhere. The loss was so massive. The other thing is what Felicia said, be active. You got to get up in the morning and you got to suit up no matter how much. This is my office. My desk is actually a security blanket. Why do I say that? Because my desk has existed. The same desk lived in La Jolla, lived when almost her father was alive, and has been with me and traveled everywhere. So I sat glued to this nice little Staples glass desk the whole time. But instead I said, I have to be active. So for me, being active, I'm heading on to 79. I'm not that big box union person that I know Patricia is and really loves, but I think I can play pickleball very badly, but I had to get up and play pickleball. I had to get up and walk. And just recently, because I really was also affected by this loss, it just triggered all the losses that I had before. I can't explain it to you, but I signed up to take some actual training, because I knew if I didn't get out soon and do something, I would not be able to be of service to anyone. And my whole goal is to be service. The other thing is, I invite you to reflect. The power of reflection is really great. Reflect, as Felicia's created the Silver Lining Club. and reflect on what we have. Be gracious in meditation with what we have lost and what we can do with the transformative nature of gratitude. Because gratitude, Edmonds, who's a positive psychologist and researcher at the University of Pennsylvania, he's proven that if you can do a gratitude list daily, and believe me, they're tough, but you got to do them with someone else, it can actually change the neurochemistry of your brain. So when I wake up, and I don't do this every day, I am a very imperfect human, but I started because I stopped. And I think if those of you that have experienced this trauma, you've stopped doing something, that's normal. That's natural. Don't be hard on yourselves. But I had to force myself, I'm telling you what I did. I had to force myself, get up every morning, do a morning meditation. I started doing, I am a good friend of Bill W. I am not a Bill W, but I did the daily reflection. I also love, for me, the meditation that seems to resonate with me, because I'm a little bit ADD, is Deepak Chopra's 21 Days of Abundance. They're easy. It takes about 10 to 12 minutes to be able to listen to him. And there's also a guide, if you like Dr. Sarah Larson, that's very uplifting, but you can imagine a world that's better. And you can imagine a world that's abundant, but you can also be able to get up. And so I do a morning meditation. I do a grateful list with two very unlikely people. And I highly recommend that you do a grateful list every day or every evening, but you do it in connection with others. You actually text them or ever. Somehow or other, I've been doing a grateful list for quite a while, but it's become much more meaningful with two other professionals that I have nothing to do with. One is a pain doctor who works in Malibu, and he lives in San Diego. And the other one is a psychologist that works in Florida. We have never had any cases together. We don't even socialize together, but yet it's such a safe place to do it. But if you have someone that you really care about, you really want to, do a gratitude list and reflect about what's the good and what's not so good. And I know that you have so many hard steps that you have to do. Also, don't be afraid to talk about the tough stuff. God knows, when I was a little girl, I'll go back, my father died by suicide. My mother, no one told me. It was a big secret. I learned it on the playground when little Ruthie Ann came skipping with her pigtails and said, "Guess what, Louise Ann? Do you know how your daddy died?" And of course I did. I knew that he was Superman. And I knew that he was taken out by kryptonite, but I sure as hell wasn't going to tell Ruthie Ann that. And then she said, point blank, flat, he hung himself with a tie. Well, that kind of work, that kind of sentence reverberated through my brain for a long time. I had to have a lot of wellness mentors through my lifetime. Some were clinicians, some were therapists, to help me navigate. But I found a mentor that helped me. The first one was Mr. Rubenstein, who owned a camp. And I was sent away to camp, thank God. So I learned how to do a bow and arrow, shoot a rifle, and make my own bed. But the other thing was that I had a clinician. And as soon as the fires hit, I stepped up my own. I believe as a clinician, you also always need help. But there is no crime in you having someone that you speak to as a professional. In fact, I think it makes you a better human, a better person to service to live. But you need someone to talk about the tough stuff. And you need someone that's objective. So don't be afraid. Nancy Irwin, who practices in, she lives near Marina del Rey, is a psychologist, and I started a free group. I can't tell you that anybody really showed up, but we're willing to do a free group. And she's great. She had been did Seasons for many years, Seasons in Malibu, and is a great clinician. She's probably a contemporary of mine, but many people have done that. Dee Dee Hirsch, you know, if you need free help, we can find it for you. I can find it for you. But the other thing is you have to, as tough as it is, and that's what Felicia talked about, is put your big girl panties on and put your big boy panties on. I'm not going to forget that there's a wonderful gentleman in this room who's got the wonderful store with the records. Somehow or other, we got to get up and we got to do what we got to do, and it's got to be so painful. How do you get the wreckage cleaned? How do you even figure out what money you have? How do you figure out where you're going to live? How do you get up and go to school each day? How do you get your children there? I mean, there's so much that you have to do to just navigate this whole new world, which you never expected, because I don't think anybody left the Palisades thinking we weren't going to come back. You know, nobody does that. It's all going to be better. And that's what happens with sudden death and sudden loss. Suddenly, Felicia wrote one day, it was so poignant. She had a keychain, but she finally took her key off. Or I was so touched by the fact for all of you that, you know, when you answer the phone and you have a message and you say, "Hi, I'm sorry I'm not home right now. When I return," but right now you don't have a home. And learning how to live through that requires skill, acumen, but don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid to reach out. I always hear, anybody who knows me, I pick up my own phone. That's sort of my MO, and I will always talk for 15 minutes with anything. But I think the power of narrative, at least for me, I'm a writer. I've written 4 books, but each week I write a blog. And a lot of them have to do, sometimes lately, they've really had to do with grief and loss and rising. And then when I grow old, I don't know, I'll be 79 this year. I'm excited. I really think I'm 12, but the mirror says something different. You know, I don't know what the life will hold, but I do know that to suit up and show up, even though it's hard, is the gift. And this week, I want to let you all know I do have a book out. It's fun, it's saucy, it's really all ego because I have all these gorgeous pictures of me taken by a world famous photographer, Shel Fox. But I'm doing a book signing. I was supposed to do a big book signing in LA because the name of my book is Reflections on Aging from the Sunset Marquee. But that's not happening right now. That would be disrespectful. But this week on Friday, I'm doing a book signing in a very unlikely place. I would love to, you got the gentleman that's there with the record store and everything. That'd be a great place for a book signing. I'm doing it in a resale shop. It's called The Boulevard, where it sells ladies' clothes. But one of the things that's so exciting about it is there's so much to give and there's so many places to help. For me, and my heart is always with Marion's House, but this particular charitable event goes to the proceeds from the sale. I don't want any of the money for the books. I want to give it to the firefighter station 69 in the Palisades, because what you don't know about me is many years ago when I developed the way that I talk to people, when I developed how to do family mapping, I spoke as a 3rd generation widow, young. I always wondered, what is it like for women who are widowed at a young age? And so my dissertation is on widowhood. I interviewed people all across the world and all across because I thought it was so peculiar that I was a 3rd generation widow. That means that my grandfather died before I was born, giving a political speech in the state of Pennsylvania. My father died by suicide, and then Felicia's daddy died suddenly and unexpectedly. And I was so afraid that some of my children, so I did a dissertation. And from that, Felicia, believe it or not, and Greg, this is way back when the internet was not cool or fun, created I had more rejected book things than I could care to do. So we created a website called Widow Source. Well, 9/11 happened, and Columbia School of Social Work asked that I work with the New York Fire Department and the widows and firefighters of 9/11. So my affection for firefighters is not just because of your fire, it's because of what happened at 9/11 and because of what they give and what they do. So, I think in the end, we all have to work on how do we celebrate ourselves. How can we put our big girl panties on, put our big boy panties on? How can we reflect? How can we cry? How can we scream? How can we pound? And how can we grow? And I am so honored that Denise asked me to speak at Malibu. And when she did, there was no fire. She said, do you want to speak at the Health and Wellness Committee? And I go, I love speaking at anybody. Well, listen to me. And then all this happened. And I thought, for the better part of value, the most I could give you is our story, our strength, and our hope, and my daughter. Because I do have two other daughters that I'm extremely proud of. But to have this happen, to have all of this happen to all of you, I just want to applaud you. And as this hat says, I must like I like a lot of caps, it looks like. But this one benefits the firefighters. And I think it's because all of you are unstoppable. And I'm very grateful to be here this morning. You can reach out to me anytime. And I'm just going to open the floor. And I guess if we have time left, what are your silver linings? Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was amazing. The two of you, Felicia and Dr. Louise, thank you so much. So powerful. I took lots of notes. You're very active.
Yes, I am.
My goodness. Are you ever going to be back at the Marquee doing any book signings?
Yes, on April 11th, we're just working out this. On April 11th, there is going to be a book signing at the Sunset Marquee, and we'll let you about it. Right now, I'm working on some sponsors, but I do write a blog every week, and you can see my calendar. You just go to my website, which is allaboutinterventions.com, or you can write me at my easy email is drstanger@me.com. And I will write you back. There's a little pot of me. It's so pretty. It's one of those pretty pictures. It pops up. And I would be so honored to hear from all of you.
I will get all your info. Oh, thank you, Felicia. I'll get your information and get it out to all the members. And you've been amazing. And I did read your book and I loved it. And I just want to hang out with you. So
well, we can make that happen. We really can.
I really want to come to your book signing. I wasn't going to be able to make it this weekend, so I'm happy that you rescheduled it.
Well, we're doing one this weekend to benefit the firefighters here, and then we'll do something. We'll do in LA April 11th because we had to reschedule it. It just didn't feel right.
I understand completely. So thank you. I'm glad that you did that. I appreciate it. Anybody else have anything to add to this conversation?
I just want to say thank you so much, Felicia. Thank you for sharing your experience, strength, and hope. What an incredible inspiration. This has been so difficult. I have not navigated it that well. And I think the silver lining is, really just trying to face my own fears and the community that's really come together. Not only the startup community, but everybody has been just such a beautiful thing. I was telling Louise the other day, for me, it's very hard to reach out. So I tend to go dark when things are hard. So I just appreciate everybody that has. And Louise, I just love and adore you, and I'm so grateful for you and our friendship. And thank you.
Well, you got to go now to Box Union to prove it.
Yeah.
Okay, I love you. And Denise, thank you so much for this opportunity.
Oh my God. I just want to say, you just, both of you are so inspirational, and you just, the way you outlined everything you've been through and how you've fallen up. I just, your story, I don't think I've ever really heard your whole story, and everything you've been through would take most people down. I guess my question would be to you, Louise, in particular, is with all the loss and the grief you've had, because my favorite saying is, we're all just walking each other home, right? It's just like, how do we do life? How do we help each other? And the question is, how did you get up from all of those losses? I mean, what is it in you that is just gets out of bed in the morning and go plays pickleball? How do you do that? Do you do thought stopping? I know you do gratitude lists. Can you give us a few more pointers on that?
I think, I guess I love working with young people. I was a university professor for many years, and I think back on my life. How did I get out of being a 7-year-old whose father died by suicide, who was afraid to go to school, who hid under covers and was embarrassed? It was because I ended up at a Camp Wood Echo, which really meant that I was all surrounded by wellness mentors. And I think it's the fact that I get up because I get to work with a lot of young people. I mean, I work with youth prevention mentors. They're like all 30 years old. They keep me young. They keep me vibrant. I get up because I don't see any other choice. I sat here for a month almost glued, and for fun, I couldn't figure out what to do. I looked at Instagram and looked at little babies, and I watched them grow. This is the truth of the matter. Like my husband said to me, "Why are you looking at all these babies?" Because they were sweet, they were gentle, and everything else. Until finally, I said, "This is crazy." And I said, I have to get back up, because I feel responsible for my clients. I feel responsible for my family, and I do no one any good. But I think along my life, I had Andrew Billingsley, who's a great African American writer. He wrote about screens of opportunity. He was a cultural anthropologist. And he said, in your lifetime, there's people that come into play. Maybe they're God shots, and they're not your best friend, and they're not always there, that they give you that little string to help pull you out. And you can't get that string, or you can't get that connection without doing something. So I'm the only one I know in the country that hosts a Saturday morning open professional AA meeting. I'm the only one who's not in AA. I'm Al-Anon ACA. So I just show up and suit up, and with the fire, I think my daughter was my inspiration. My daughter, my grandson, my son-in-law, and just had to get up because I had to do something. We did such crazy things. Like, we got all this clothing. The clothing was awful. Some clothing person sent clothes to Felicia that looked like they belonged in a garbage can, and she was like, "Oh my God," or then we started saying everybody needs to send gift cards to everybody else. It was, then what could I really do? And then we also were involved in another thing. I think when you think that you've lost everything, and you think that maybe you are incarcerated and on death row, or never going to get out of this prison, you need to join a charity that Felicia invited me to join. It's called Defy Ventures. So, for example, for my 78th birthday, I was serenaded at Donovan State Prison by lifers. There was about 60 lifers who are never going to leave the prison. And yet when you heard their stories and you heard their thoughts, you wanted to be part of them. You wanted to help them. You wanted to go back into the world because you just were so grateful. You know, and these are guys, I mean, I did work with people in prison when I first started at the university. These are guys that, you know, when you meet them and you learn their stories, you wonder why they're really in prison, some of them. But some of them did kill somebody. Some of them were gang members. Some of them were raped. Some of them were trans. But we get to leave. We get to leave Donovan State Prison. We don't have to be imprisoned. And yet these guys in a very existential stance, and the women too, Felicia's worked with women also, so they have the opportunity to make meaning in the midst of despair. Those of you that ever read existentialism know Camus, know Kafka, know that when other things happen, you need to make meaning. And I think Defy Ventures helped me. I think Rhonda, who I interviewed for my talk show, who is the program manager at Miriam's house, helped me decide that to live life is to live not behind bars. And if you meet these gentlemen and you see what they can do behind bars,
Behind bars.
Behind bars, yes, they're they're lifers. I mean, Felicia can talk more about it. And we're going back there in May. It is you are grateful that you get up and you get to create meaning. Because if we don't create meaning, like I was just writing, I don't know, I talk too much, but I'll be short. I'm sorry, I'm rambling now.
Gotta go to another meeting.
Goodbye, Felicia.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Felicia.
Bye.
Felicia's mother stopped talking. That's right. But you know, I've gotten a lot of awards. I'm going off to Breckenridge. I don't even know to get a Lifetime Achievement Award. And I was writing it this morning, and you know, I said, you know, keep following up is sort of the model. But I think I actually really did it. But I think that what we have to do is we only have so many breaths in life. We only have so many hours. We never really know what they matter. You know, I experienced 6 sudden deaths in my life. I only talked about a few of them here today. But my intention is for all of us to grow, to be of service. And I think when we are of service, it takes us out of our own stuff, even in the midst of horrible despair. So I guess it's the AA motto of suiting up and showing up that really carries with me. But most of all, I welcome learning from all of you because I believe I'm still growing. I'm human. I got a lot of faults, a lot of foibles. And I just want to thank all of you for walking this path together. And I want you to know that you're not alone.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Louise, one thing, and Diane, you know this about me, is that I believe in balance and rhythm. And one of my silver linings has been finding this little community called Solving. And Patricia, I think we need to take you out there. We even did this with the clients during the fires. It was like, they have got to be so sick of listening, you know, after hours, the political cycle, all of this loss. Let's just go to Solving for a day and forget about everything for a while. And we did that. And, you know, they're on the trolleys, they get their Viking hats, there's the mission, the ostrich farm, and just kind of go away for a little bit. And that's my favorite place to go. And one of our colleagues, who's very well respected, Kurt Garby, said, you've got to meet this lady named Beverly. And Beverly has a little retreat center up there, and it's surrounded by waterfalls. It's just absolutely beautiful. And for anyone, I just want to let you know, if anybody just needs to get away and go do a retreat for a few days to process all of this PTSD that has been coming at us in many directions, I just highly encourage you to find a space like that for yourself, a safe space, because living and breathing this every day is just, it's too much. It's too much for all of us. And I just encourage you to really indulge in triple the self-care, because if you triple the self-care, you're going to be able to show up in a different way as well. So indulge yourself, bathe yourself in self-care. And if you want to know about Beverly's Retreat Center, I was just blown away. I could have spent the whole day with her. She was back to back with appointments, but I'd happily introduce you to her.
And do something silly.
Yes, silly.
Something silly. Most of the time I'm pretty silly. You know, and that's, you don't do it on purpose or anything, but it's okay to kick a wall, and it's okay to cry, and it's okay. You must scream, and you must express yourself, and you can be snappy to a colleague. Sorry, you can't. Or you can be wappy and everything, because nobody, you know, nobody can try. We can only try to understand one another. We can only hold space for one another, but we can never truly know your experience completely. Anybody who says they can is not telling the truth. And yet, you know, I have confidence, Patricia, in Jeff and Greg, and that, you know, something else. I don't know. I've had so many breakups with people, you know, and you know, professionally, something, you know, when you leave something, something else happens. They say that, and that sounds so pithy. When one door closes, another one opens. I don't know what the lesson is. I don't know that there's any great lesson from seeing 5,000 homes destroyed in your place, in Malibu, in Altadena. I don't know what the lesson is, that there was no water in the reservoir. That's downright stupid and annoying and poor government. But there has to be something, because you guys are fabulous, all the people that survived. And there's and the thing that bothers me the most is that there will be a lot of mental health issues. I don't get, you know, I get people from all the world, but mother called me, they're living now in Encino, and their son is drinking. Well, why not? You know, that's a lot of things to have pain. So how can we help them navigate a new way of being? And all of you are best suited to do that. I saw there's a lot of health and wellness coaches here today, a lot of wonderful helpers. But first, I think that there's a crucial conversation. You have to first take care of yourself in order to take care of others. If you don't nourish your soul, and I know, and that's not even being arrogant, it's not being egotistical, it's just really, really nourish yourselves. Because in order to nourish others, you have to be fed.
100%.
So thanks.
Thank you so much. We really, really appreciate having you here today. And I look forward to meeting you one day, maybe April 11th.
Yes. And if you want, anybody wants to send me their emails, just do that. But don't do it in the chat, because I'll never get it out of the chat.
Okay.
Well, I think this is going to be the end of our story. Thank you, Barbara, for being here to help us run this show again today. Well, you're muted. She's still muted. All right. I have to get going. I got a 3-hour drive home.
Oh my. Take safe travels.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Everybody, fill your day with self-care, and thank you for the vulnerability. I know your daughter had to leave, but you guys are so vulnerable, and this is so healing and powerful. I'm so grateful.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
We love
Thank
you.
you.
Love you, Patricia.
Love you too. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.